Hi Craftoholics, welcome to another craft along video, and this time I'm going to be showing you how to make your own seamless and repeating patterns. I'm basically just going to walk you through the steps that I have on the sheet that you got in your June Craftoholic mail, but a little bit more in depth. And it all starts with a square. Now please excuse how just sketchy and rough these little fruit drawings are, but you're just going to get the idea of how the pattern works, so I didn't need to make it look that good. But I just did some fruits and I started focusing on the center. You don't want to draw off of the page or be too close to the edge, but just focus in the middle of the design. Then you're going to cut the page down the middle in half and swap the right and the left sides. Now because we're going to be drawing in this middle empty space to fill it up, it is helpful to just tape the back if you're doing this on paper. This is the world's worst line drawing ever, but anyway, I basically just went in and filled in all those little empty spots. Again, I'm staying away from the edge. I don't want to go off of the paper. Now we're going to cut it the other way and switch the top and the bottom pieces. And again, you can tape the back if you want. My middle didn't have that much of an empty space with how the design was, so I just went in and filled the little side empty white spots with some little doodles. And then I flipped it over again, and this time I did have a bit of an empty space in the middle, so I decided to put a tiny little pair of cherries. And now I switched the top and the bottom again, so I'm back to where the original design was before I cut it. Now you can photograph your drawing or you can scan it, which I prefer to do just to get all of the texture in it. And I'm basically just going to make a square canvas digitally on Photoshop or Procreate and put in those different squares, kind of like tiles essentially, and fit them together so that they seem like they're pretty much in the same spot. Once I merged all of the layers together, I used the heel tool to get rid of that line of the paper seams in between, and then did some other little touch-ups to make sure that things looked pretty good. And for colors, this is why I love digitizing your handmade artwork, because there's just so many possibilities and I just love playing with the colors and changing things around, so it can be endless. But once you have it how you like, you're going to define your pattern and name it something silly. And then once you have your rectangle shape, you're going to set the fill to pattern and then select the new one that you made. And now you can change the scale. And this is also helpful to see if there's any parts like I had where you need to still go back in and touch up. So I actually forgot about some of these side seams of the paper. So I went back in with my heel tool and sort of just like fixed those little bits up, you know? And then basically, instead of cutting the paper, we're going to digitally make a cut by making a rectangle. If you're in Procreate, you can just use the select feature, but in Photoshop, I like to command and select the layer icon, then select the layer I actually want, and then I'm just going to cut and paste so that basically I just chopped it digitally without scissors. And then I'm going to do the same thing we did on paper, which is to move the top to the bottom and move the bottom to the top and just swap those places. And now you can see that I actually have a pretty big seam in the middle there that I also need to touch up. So I'm just going to merge those layers again, use the heel tool, tidy things up, fix that little cherry that was misaligned from trying to put the little tiles of the corners together. And now it's much better. I can define my pattern again, and now when I go in and scale it, there shouldn't be any seams in the way. It should be perfect, seamless, and absolutely beautiful. And at any scale, it actually looks so cute. Even though it's such like a doodly rough drawing, I think it turned out so adorable. So that is just the absolute simple basics for how to make a repeating design. And so for Valentine's Day, when I made that scrapbook kit, I just really loved doing these patterns and focusing on the symmetry, especially for this month's with the 60s mod design. It was a lot focused on the shapes. So there's so many endless ways to do it, and if you are curious more about the different kinds of patterns that you can make, because there's so many different shapes to start out with, even within that square, that gives you different results. So just let me know, because I would love to show you and share all these different ways with you. I basically just printed out the fruit design though, made a little envelope to show you what you can do with your own patterns. So I can't wait to see what you make. Please share it with me. I would love to see your designs, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next craft along video.